Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for coming. You've all seen the news about the rallies across America where people were paid $200 a piece to go to these rallies. And there were several murders during the rallies. And as you can see, citizen.org and No Kings is still fully operational. Nobody's taken down their websites for murder. Anyway, all across America, are we headed for a world conflict? They made revolutions everywhere, wars everywhere. Is that where we're headed? First of all, first thing Trump could do is stop funding Habitat for Humanity. As a white male, low income, I couldn't get Habitat for Humanity to help me. I wasn't an illegal alien. And homes have stopped selling in Tacoma. They're on the market now for quite a long time. Anyway, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Are we headed to world conflicts? Are we headed to a world in conflict? This is brought to you by Noble Gold. In all of these conflicts, one thing seems to stick out in my mind. Today I found 50 cents on my chair. Now that used to mean something. You could feed yourself with $0.25 a day when I was a kid. Actually, you could feed yourself for about 15 cents a day. Now it's about $3 a day. That used to mean something. That's 4 bits. That's 2 bits. That used to mean something. Up until the Federal Reserve System took over in 1913, 6% rate of inflation a year. Now we're up to 25%. I remember when I got involved in gold investing, oh golly, probably 12 years ago, gold was selling at $1,200 an ounce. Now it's $3,400, and I can stash it somewhere where nobody can seize it. So where do we buy gold? Sometimes we go to a gold seller to get an occasional odd coin. This today is selling for $400. It's a 10-ounce gold coin, $400. Man, you better save those little gold trinkets. This we bought for $33. No, I think it was $30 at the time. This is selling for over well, I think it's $700 for that particular coin. But so you buy collector stuff, and by golly, it could go up. We buy from Noble Gold for a couple of reasons. One, they've been around a decade. Number two, I know them. You can reach out and physically touch the people. They don't advertise in the newspaper. It's word of mouth. They sell an enormous amount of gold and silver, and then they run it by a machine to make sure it's worth something. They don't just sell you some Credit Suisse thing where you peel the gold off and find tungsten underneath. That's insanity. So we buy from a reputable gold dealer. Like I said, occasionally we'll buy a Morgan coin. Somebody's birthday's coming up, and oh my God, we didn't get a birthday present. We run down. But we love Noble Gold. You look at your 401k statement lately, shocked? Yeah, I'm not shocked. My stuff just keeps going up and up and up. And so I don't have to worry about investment jitters. Forget about that. Anyway, Trump made an announcement that he's using the entire federal government now to deport illegal aliens. We'll see. He said leave hotels and farmlands alone. We'll see. Eliminate the welfare. And you'll have all kinds of Americans picking fruit and vegetables. Just cut off the welfare. That's who funded these riots. That's who funded No Kings. That's who funded citizen.org. It was the welfare department and Homeland Security. Oh no, it was a Chinese billion. No, it was not. Sure, Walmart was involved because they get a lot of government contracts. You know, that $100,000 hammer or the $10 million toilet. Yeah, they get a lot of contracts from the government, so they would turn around and they take their wealth and they fund the riots against Americans. There won't be a protest against Walmart because the people protesting on the weekdays are the welfare recipients who go to Walmart. Go to Walmart. Go to Costco in the middle of the day. Man, they cut out illegal aliens and welfare recipients. The grocery stores will be empty. They rely on your taxpayer money. 100 million workers supporting 360 million people. Your paycheck supports 3.5 other people. You have to pay for them on welfare. You have to pay the $8,000 a month for your neighbor who's on Social Security refugee pay. There's a church down the street. There's a Samoan church, Seventh-day Adventist, wonderful church. Russian church, wonderful church. Baptist church, all Philippines. 3 churches in a row. Somebody was sitting out there high on drugs. Not one church came out to help on Monday. They're laying halfway across the street, halfway across the sidewalk. Why? Because they're all getting $8,000 a month. They can't be bothered with poor homeless Americans. We live in a sick country that supports lazy people. And this is very interesting. 2 men working. One of them was an appointee by Tim Walz, and then his name was Vance Bachler. He went to 2 Minnesota congressmen, pretended he was a cop, and shot him dead, both of them. He and a partner. Now, Tim Walz had appointed him onto his staff and then set him aside and gave him an enormous amount of money for his NGO. So the state of Minnesota funded this guy, and he just killed 2 Minnesota congressmen. So the mob took out 2 people in the mob. Who was the mob? Here in the city of Tacoma, we sent $2 billion to the owner of the city of Tacoma. Seattle this year, they sent $3 billion to the owners of Seattle. Now you know who the mob is. The owners of the cities, the counties, and the states. They're collecting enormous amounts of money illegally, and they run the drug trade. So, going overseas, we've already seen what the riots can do, and we've already seen that the Department of Homeland Security has neither arrested the people who run Citizen.org and NoKings.org, nor have they taken the websites down. They don't care. Let it go up. Let it sprout. Let's have a massive conflict. Last night I sat up from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 10:30, listening to the gunshots. Just like that for 2.5 freaking hours. Gunshots. That away. 72nd and Hosmer. We're the highest murder capital rate as a percentage of the population in the world. Now, we have 200,000 people. The mob got $2 billion. That means every citizen of Tacoma paid $800 a month to support the mob. Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, yes, you did. You bought bread. You bought milk. You bought gasoline. You paid a power bill. You put pennies in the meter. Nickels. Now it's dollars, I think. A little bit of that goes to the mob. Your taxes would be so much lower if the feds would enforce the law. The owners of the cities can receive a salary, but not $2 billion. That's beyond a salary. But they're not going to. The federal government is not going to enforce the law. So here in the United States, taxes are going to continue to go up, which is going to cause inflation to skyrocket because the federal government refuses to obey federal law. And Prime Minister Netanyahu stated that it was the Iranians that tried to kill Trump. Oh my God, the Iranians tried to kill him because Israel, as Russia advances on all fronts in the Ukraine, and it's a total disaster, and Europe is falling apart with riots all across Europe. If we wanted to end that conflict, all we do is take out 5 roads going into the Ukraine. 5 silly little 2-laned paved roads. 5 missiles. Boom! War ends in 1 week. 1 million people not dead. 1 million people, white Christian males, not dead. 5 missiles. Cost $50 million. Would have ended that conflict a decade ago. But do you think the United States and Russia and China want to end that conflict? Abso-frickin-lutely not. It's been going on since 2014. This is the biggest cash cow the arms dealers have had since the Vietnam War. In Korea, if we'd have taken out that one bridge, one stinking little frickin' bridge between China and North Korea, that conflict would have ended in a matter of a few days. If the United States had taken out the 10 roads going in northern Vietnam, from Vietnam to China, that conflict would have ended in a couple of weeks. It's not about ending the conflict. It's about extending the conflict and murdering hundreds of millions of people. If we want to end the conflict in Israel, they have 2 oil pipelines. Knock out the 2 oil pipelines. No electricity, no conflict. I know Rick Tover said 3 AWACS flying over Iran will shut down all their electronics. Did we do that? No. The India-Pakistan war. You know how quickly that would have ended if India took out 1 port leading into Pakistan? Because 60% of their food comes from overseas. 1 little port, boom, no food for Pakistan, conflict ends. You know how easy it would be to end the conflict in Iran? 2 oil ports, boom, 2 missiles, boom. No money for Iran, conflict ends. 5 paved roads going into the capital of Iran. You take out those 5 roads, no electricity, no food, massive riots, conflict ends. 5 missiles. Instead, we got 1,000 flying here and 1,000 flying there and 1,000 more flying here and 1,000 more flying there, while Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and Boeing and all the missile makers around the world are laughing with joy. Oh man, yeah, while the profits just flow in. And who's paying for Israel? You are. And who's paying for Iran's missiles? China is. This is China versus the United States, and now it's Russia versus the United States and the Ukraine. Trump wants out of the conflict, then blow up the 2 ports leaving Iran, blow up the 5 roads going into the Ukraine. Done. Over with. Through. Conflict ended 2 weeks later. You want to end Israel bombing and blowing people up? Blow up the 2 oil pipelines. 2 itty-bitty oil pipelines. But Hamas doesn't want to blow up the 2 oil pipelines. They want to kill Jews. And the Jews want to kill Arabs. So an end to the conflict is not in order. You want to end the conflict in Sudan so U.S. troops don't come home with coffins draped with American flags. Been there, done that, seen it. You want to end that conflict? Knock out the 1 road going north and then the river traffic on a little unpaved road going north into Sudan. Food supplies stop, conflict over. Nobody can eat. You want to end South Africa killing the white farmers? Blow up the port. 2 ports in South Africa. No food, no conflict. White farmers gone. Nobody's making any food. Massive revolution in South Africa. You want to stop the conflict in Venezuela? 1 missile, blow up their oil port. No exportation, no importation of food, no exportation of oil, no importation of food. The conflict in Venezuela. 2 weeks later, mass revolution, conflict over. Done. Through. Fine. You want to end the illegal immigration? Put up a double chain link fence between Mexico and the United States with concertina wire in between it. We have the chain link fence in stock in the National Guard inventory. I can show you a place just north of here. Let's see, north would be that way. Along Algona, where we could build 10 miles of that. There's enough chain link fence in 1 spot. We don't want to build a chain link fence between Mexico and the United States. We want this conflict. We want the massive conflict. We want this conflict. You want to stop China from stealing U.S. money to build their military, to threaten everybody? Raid BlackRock headquarters and cut off the money flow to China. You want to stop China from functioning? Cut off the 3 oil pipelines going into China using a satellite. In the Philippines, in Panama, when we were in conflict with Panama, people were walking on the sidewalk and they turned into little blobs. The satellites vaporized them. And the people took a piece of chalk and drew the outline of the people on the sidewalk and wrote their names right there. Jose Fernandez. You want to take out the Ayatollah? He's chipped. Take him out with a satellite. No, we have to kill tens of thousands of people and start a world conflict because Lucifer says so. Trump has to start the conflict. Hegseth has to start the conflict. He has to ratchet it up. He can't control his GS7, so therefore the conflict must continue. Well, and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Iran can't export oil. So the United States oil companies are jumping for joy because we can export as much oil as the world demands. So can Russia. So Russia and the United States oil companies are jumping with joy over this conflict in Iran. But we haven't taken out the 2 ports that bring all the food into Iran. Take out the port in Pakistan. Take out the 2 major ports in Iran. But alas, GPS is being blocked all over Jordan and all over the Middle East, all over North Africa. GPS signals are being blocked. So ships are coming in and out without the use of GPS. You see, these ships are computer run. Nobody has a steering wheel anymore. It's all done on the net, and the net's been hacked and hacked and hacked and hacked. That's why we buy gold and silver. We know it's so easy. Coinbase won't even give me my money back. The SEC hacked the system and stole my money from Sean David Morton, who stole it from me. They won't give my money back. This is the only money we have. Not even the Office of the Comptroller of Currency is honest. There are a bunch of dishonest people who want money from you. So Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing, Mobil, Exxon, Shell Oil, and every other U.S., Norwegian, and English oil company are going like this because the Straits of Hormuz are closed. Yay! Which is where the 5th Fleet is located. Why do we have the 5th Fleet located over there? Why do we have an African command to kill Africans? Why? Because we want the conflict. It's all about supporting the arms dealers, Big Pharma. Look, they're still dumping fluoride in our water. Kennedy can't do anything. He's a complete immobile imp. He can't even stop fluoride, a compound as toxic as lead, from being put in our water. So it looks like, because Trump won't take any action against nokings.org, he won't seize citizen.org, he won't even shut the websites down that are calling for another mass riot, he won't defund them, they've already got the money, he won't stop BlackRock from funneling billions of American dollars to China to build up their military. Because that won't happen, because he can't even stop the fluoride, a compound as toxic as lead, being dumped in our water all over the country. Because Trump can't do that, likely he's not going to stop the civil wars that are going to start in Europe, the conflict that's accelerating between Israel and Iran, and the Russian takeover of Ukraine. It's over for the Ukraine. Anyway, now you know what's going on. Tomorrow we may discuss who knows. But so far, the inaction of the White House because of the demon rats. Don't tell me Congress did this and Congress did that, and the courts did this or the courts did that, because the Supreme Court and Congress have been dissolved for well over half a frickin' decade. So don't tell me Trump has to obey the court system, because there is no Supreme Court. It's all fake, a facade. You saw proof on number 2. You saw proof on number 1. You saw proof all over Truth Social. Congress is dissolved. The Supreme Court is dissolved. We're now run by a bunch of NGOs supported by a bill approved by the White House. And just as much as he approves it, he can disapprove it. And he can arrest Chucky Schumer and the 235 judges he said he had appointed to create a civil war in America. But Trump has not arrested the 235 judges. He has not arrested Chucky Schumer. He has not arrested the rest of the demon rats for starting a revolution, a civil war. So here we are. So what do? We go to Noble Gold, 877-646-5347, and we buy gold and silver. A lot going on, folks. You need to put it together. Lucifer wants you dead, but first he wants 300 years of conflict. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.